saying that because just now, just a few hours back, the health ministry of Gaza, which is of course ruled by the Hamas itself, has come out and said that of late, in one day alone, there have been 6 babies who've died prematurely, and this, as per them, the reason behind that is the lack of fuel, the lack of electricity, the lack of food, even medicines, which they could not provide. But it's quite interesting if we juxtapose it with what the WHO director has said. He said, regrettably, hospital is not functioning as a hospital anymore. What would you say about that? The fact that human shields are being used, and that too made out of babies, those who are injured, those who are stuck.
Well, I think it speaks to the depravity that Hamas has and the disregard for their own civilian population. Hamas is responsible for evacuating those civilians. We have, because we don't want to impact the civilians there, and because the goal here is to target Hamas and not civilians anywhere in the Strip, but certainly not within the hospital. We have instructed for several weeks for people to move. We have created tactical pauses to allow the movement of civilians. We are creating every possible situation on the ground to enable civilians to move and for the hospital to receive fuel, as you mentioned in your report. And the fact that Hamas is putting pressure on civilians in the hospital is criminal, and I think it speaks to the disregard that they have for their own people.
Now, Major Weis, it's very interesting that back in 2014, you yourself were part of Operation Protective Edge. This was against the Hamas in Gaza. You were inside some of these terror tunnels that you were explaining to us about. Can you tell us what they are like, since you have been in one of them extensively at that?
Sure. So I think the best way to think of the tunnels is really to imagine that there is Gaza above ground and then there is Gaza underground.